Welcome back to Beyond the Buzzer's internal series. This week, Sam and I brought on Nico again as we spoke about the Lakers, the Rockets, Philly, the Bucks, and a couple other teams. Sam, before the episode starts, tell our audience what they got to do.
You know what you gotta do. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the like button and follow us on all the podcast applications. Let's go, baby.
Enjoy the episode, guys. All right, guys, welcome back to our Beyond the Buzzer internal series. It is 10:40 p.m. in Dubai on Sunday, the 24th of November, 10:40 a.m. in LA where Nico is, and 9:40 p.m. where Sam is in Jordan. I think we want to dive right in. First topic I want to speak about today is the Lakers. We know there's a lot of whispers around them looking to acquire a big man. There have been some whispers around them looking to acquire Trae Young. Coming off two tough losses, I think the Magic loss is something you can control. You got to make your free throws down the stretch. But then to come back and follow that up with a pretty poor performance against Denver, I wouldn't say it's worrying signs, but I would say it's something to think about. So Nico, obviously you follow the Lakers very closely. What do you think this team needs to get over the hump, or do you think their roster right now is strong enough?
I think the coaching is pretty solid. The Magic loss was pretty embarrassing from the two-star players just not making free throws down the stretch. Especially AD missing two free throws, just a bit uncharacteristic. They need to make a trade. They're not going to compete in the West if they don't make a trade. They need a big, and I'd like a 3-and-D guy with some.
Do you think a big is more important than them getting like a guard, like a proper strong point guard?
I think a big's more important because their big right now is Jackson Hayes or Christian Wood, who's injured, or AD, or this G League guy, Koloko, who looks good, but he's probably like a 21-year-old who's still learning how to play the game the right way. I would go for a big. I don't know if I like the Valanciunas trade that's being sort of circulating. I think that's a lot for a guy that is pretty slow on his feet, but good offensively. I think I would go for like a Rob Williams and hope that the health stays. Because Rob Williams, he's more of a presence. Maybe you go for like, I don't know, Walker Kessler. Or if you do the Valanciunas trade, you get something else. You get Valanciunas and maybe like Kuzma, if the money, lines up. But you don't just get Valanciunas. I believe in this team. I think Connect is one of the top 3 rookies in the league right now. He's playing really above his pay grade. Although I guess he's an older rookie, so you kind of expect this.
How many years did he play in college?
I think he played because he did JUCO. I think he did 4 years.
Wow.
I think he's 3 or 4. I can't remember.
Yeah, because I think he's JUCO and the Tennessee year, maybe 2 years. I think Connect's 23 or 24. So it's a bit like Jaquez last season on the Heat. He came in pretty polished. This Lakers team needs to make a trade. If they waste another good LeBron and AD year, I feel like Rob Pelinka is just like one of the really, really worst GMs in the league. And I would make a trade. I would make a move.
Do you really think a center will solve their issues? I doubt that. I really believe they need another playmaker. Last night was a testament of it. I think LeBron cannot do it on his own for 82 games plus the playoffs. Last night we saw when teams played physical against him. I think he was 1 for 4 from 3, 7 for 17 from the field goal. And then Denver shot the hell out of the ball. They shot 50% from threes. Plus, they have the best center in the NBA. I don't believe a center will solve their issues. LeBron was at his best when he had playmakers such as Kyrie, Dwayne Wade. He needs that second player to help him.
So it's interesting you say that because I want to tap into that. So I tend to agree. Nico and I have been going back and forth about this. A lot of people think that AD, when he's playing the 4, it allows him to dominate more with mismatches. One of the trade ideas that's been floating around has been Trae Young making it to the Lakers. While that sounds good on paper, what you realize is that Trae Young, Austin Reaves in a backcourt defensively is pretty weak. So if your suggestion, me neither. So if your suggestion is that they need another playmaker, and we're all in agreement that Austin Reaves, Connect, AD, and LeBron are the only untouchables, what kind of player do you think would come to the Lakers and make a difference, Sam?
Why is Austin Reaves untouchable? What has he brought to the table?
Interesting.
Wow.
Why is he untouchable, honestly? Tell me something that he brings to the table that you cannot go get a primetime playmaker that you can throw him in that deal. I will throw him in that deal right away. Nothing against him. But when I'm talking about bringing a big-time playmaker to go along LeBron and AD, I'm going to go for that. I only have maybe 2 years max with LeBron.
I think we like Austin Reaves because of his story coming up, and because I actually feel that he's gotten better defensively. I think a couple times down the stretch against the Magic when they lost that close game, he did some really, really good footwork. He cut a couple people off, and he looked good in rotation.
Right.
I've never thought about putting him in a trade, but to be honest, you do make a good point, which is if you can go get a superstar, someone to make sort of another big three, then you might have to give up Austin Reaves. The question then becomes, what kind of superstar that might be available on the trading block would be worth trading Austin Reaves for?
That's Rob Pelinka's job, baby.
Yeah, right. He's got to go do his job. I can't think of a point guard that's on the trading block. I mean, if the Mavs bottomed out, maybe Kyrie, but I don't think that they would trade. They would trade
What
him.
about a Zach LaVine? How do you think he fits?
I'm a big Zach LaVine fan, but I feel like the injury history is a little bit nervy, and he's on a lot of money. I think he's on like 40.
I don't think he would fit in being the third player in a system, and I don't think trading Austin Reaves for Zach LaVine is an upgrade, honestly. Austin Reaves does his role very well because I think he knows what his ceiling is. Austin Reaves isn't going to go to a Chicago team and expect to be the best player. Austin Reaves thrives and scores his occasional 20-point game because he knows he's picking up when AD and LeBron are off. I think tell me.
Aboudi, LeBron is not going to defer to Austin Reaves. You got to
He does.
that.
LeBron lets him cook in clutch time. You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting.
He does. And I think maybe that's part of regular season stuff, just to give Austin Reaves some confidence before and I think there's a testament to LeBron knowing like there's a bigger picture at play here. But I also don't think Zach LaVine's done enough in his career to suggest that LeBron would defer to him in crunch time. You know, Austin Reaves is a clutch player. Zach LaVine, he's a volume shooter. I don't know if what the Lakers need is a volume shooter. They need a playmaker, someone who can score but also facilitate. And while I think Zach LaVine won't achieve his full potential in Chicago, I don't think he's the right fit for the Lakers.
But LaVine's a 3-level scorer, which is useful, you know?
Very athletic, can defend.
Exactly. I like the fit with LaVine, actually. It's just the health and the money aspect. They would have to send probably Rui, maybe Reeves, D'Lo, and probably a couple. That's a lot. You're giving up, because if he gets injured, then it's the season wraps. I mean, the Trae Young trade would be a disaster. You know, the secret about the Hawks is that I think they're better without him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So we'll touch on that last thing with the Lakers because I know we're gonna talk about another rookie. But Dalton Knecht obviously had a huge game recently. Dropped 37, 9 threes. It's the most threes by any rookie ever. It's tied actually most threes by any rookie ever. Right. He's followed it up, still looking pretty solid. I think he had this one big game, and everyone assumed that he's now going to go and win Rookie of the Year. I think he's got the potential to, but I think it's too early to say. Sam, what are your thoughts on him so far?
The guy is a phenomenal shooter. The guy plays with crazy confidence. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of like a pure European player that just comes in and doesn't care. He has that swag. You don't see that often from a college kid coming in playing at that big stage with LeBron James, a Lakers uniform. You know how hard it is? Some big-time players like Westbrook couldn't perform with that uniform on. It's a very tough uniform to play for the Los Angeles Lakers stuff, and to be a rookie and to be able to perform that way, it speaks highly of him and JJ Redick. I'm sure JJ Redick gave him huge amount of confidence.
Mm-hmm. Nico, what are your thoughts on his performance so far, and what's his ceiling?
I think Sam made a great point about the weight of the Lakers uniform. We've seen so many guys go to the Lakers and their shooting numbers go way down. I think his ceiling is, I don't know. I like the point that he's a very European player because he has that thing of like, I don't care that I'm a rookie, I'm going to go at you, which is like you can't buy that, you know, and you love that in year one. His ceiling, I don't know if I see like an all-star level player, but I see a playoff starter. You know, I see a guy that's going to contribute.
I think he could be a better version of Ryan Anderson for the Rockets.
More of like Mike Miller.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Or like a very poor man's, like a homeless Klay Thompson. You know what I mean? like that energy. But he's also he's a bit more athletic than Klay. He's a bit more.
And he's a bit longer at pause, honestly. So So speaking of Dalton, I think another rookie that at this rate might pick up Rookie of the Year is our TikTok star nail painting, Jared McCain. Look, off the court stuff aside, the guy's been hooping. I think a big part of that is because his team is playing so poorly, and he's had more of an opportunity to step up. Sam, you've been in around the league. what's happening in Philly is pretty crazy, especially now with the leak coming out of Tyrese, calling out Embiid. Do you think this is the kind of thing that essentially ruins the season from now, or can Philly turn it around given the fact they have pretty big star power?
Okay, first of all, usually star players should be calling each other out. That's the norm. But when it's behind closed doors, players meeting only, that shit should not get leaked. And Embiid getting pissed about who leaked it out, he has the right. He is the franchise player. And this shows me that there's trouble in Philly. And if I have to call it, this might be the last year for Embiid with Philly, if I'm reading the whole situation correctly. He is getting picked on, and the management has not protected him. And whoever leaked this needs to get fired. They need to find out who leaked this, because you cannot leak anything from players meeting only. That's a no-no. You know what I mean?
I think he was, by the way, I think he was also pissed that they went and got Paul George in the offseason and didn't go try and get Jimmy Butler again. I'm not sure if I read that correctly, so I don't want to fact check that.
That's
But
interesting.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't happy with them picking up PG. Listen, like, first and foremost, give your flowers to another guy doing a podcast, trying to use his platform for good. Secondly, obviously, like, after his horrific injury, never really was the same. But objectively speaking, on a basketball level, the guy hasn't performed, deep in the playoffs. And if you're Embiid, you expect your team to go off and get someone that's going to make a big difference. Paul George has looked pretty poor so far this season. And I would understand Embiid's frustration, and I tend to agree that this could be Embiid's last year in Philly.
But last year, Paul George single-handedly carried the Clippers because Kawhi was
I think
out.
give James Harden some credit. James Harden had a good season too, and James Harden's having a great season this season too.
I agree,
You're right,
but it was an upgrade from Tobias Harris, if you ask me,
Yeah.
Paul George, in a way.
Of course, Nico would be an upgrade from Tobias Harris, honestly. But
Honestly, yeah. But Tobias Harris is much, much richer than I am. So he wins in that regard. I think with the Sixers, I feel bad for Paul George, hyperextending the same knee twice in like 2 months. Look, he's an unlucky guy. He's a great player. Playoff success has been minimal, but he went against a Miami LeBron quite young. He took a Clippers team to their first Western Conference Finals that Suns year. But I think the Sixers, this is the stuff that you should be smiling about. Maxi's a bowler. He's getting even better. You drafted Jared McCain at like outside the lottery at like 15th. He looks pretty good. So you've got this fun backcourt. But the trouble is, I don't know, I kind of agree with Sam. This might be Embiid's last year. And if I was the Rockets, I would try and trade for Embiid. That's what I would do.
so this is a really good segue into the topic that I want to speak about next, which is Houston. We'll go back to the East and the Celtics and the Cavs in a bit, but Houston sits at third place in the West right now. I'm wearing this shirt very intentionally.
Right.
I don't agree that Embiid is the piece to go for, but what I will say is what I've enjoyed very much watching so far is that it seems as though Ime Udoka has very much instilled a culture of we actually are a team, and one night it might be Jalen Green, one night it might be Alperen Sengun, one night it might be Dylan Brooks. Jalen Green came into the league and was supposed to be this like euphoric 30-point scorer every game. He does go off sometimes, but also he goes and he has 17-point games where he plays like 25 minutes. And so far, seemingly, from the outside, his attitude seems to be completely fine with it. They're moving the ball. Tari Easton's coming off the bench, having like 14 points a game. Amen Thompson is cooking, right? And then,
crazy.
besides Fred VanVleet last night, verbally abusing a ref, like they look to have a very cohesive unit and one that likes playing together. I don't think they're going to make a deep playoff run, and I don't even think they're going to be in the top four. But Sam, how far do you think this team can go?
I think for sure a play-in, and they might sneak in as the 8th seed. I really believe so, because they are playing defense. They're third in opponent points per game. So that's pretty good. So they're scoring 113 points and they give up 105. That's pretty damn good. So he has them playing defense, and they're playing great offense. They're pushing the tempo, playing the right way. And like you touched on, everybody's sharing the ball. Every night you have no idea who's going to have a great night. So that's a sign of a great team. And they could be the surprise, just like last year, of the Oklahoma Thunders.
So, Nico, you think Embiid is the play? People have whispered that maybe they should go get Giannis in free agency. I tend to think that, and what I've read so far is they're not willing to blow up the core to go get a superstar. If you, in your situation where they get Embiid, what it's worth giving up, right? Because essentially you're saying that getting Embiid now, not the end of his career, but after he's been banged up, is better than keeping Alperen Sengun, and who's in year 3 and starting to really present himself as like a mini Jokic.
I mean, look, if you can get Giannis, that's a whole different ballgame than Embiid. You do whatever it takes to get him, because Giannis and Jokic to me are the 1 and 2 of the league right now. Since
Yeah.
Luka came into the league this season out of shape, Luka's kind
He
of.
comes in out of shape every season. We're going to talk
I
about
know,
that.
but it just feels like, is this going to be like a real habit? Like, like is Luka going to have a James Harden type of body where
Let's get there. I want to hear your thoughts on Giannis. Fine. So
Yeah.
what kind of trade would you? Who's
I
worth
guess
giving up, right? Because
Sengun, and then you throw in one of the young guys. I'm trying to think. I don't know.
so
I mean,
right now, whose team is it? Is it Jalen Green's team or is it Alperen Sengun's team?
Good question.
I think it's Alfred Sengun's team.
Alperen Sengun's team.
And I think he's got the most value. But like you look at Amen Thompson, and I think this guy's the quickest player in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like
Motherfucker's picking people up full court. It's crazy.
Yeah. Right.
it's crazy. He's like a cheetah. Him and Tari Eason off the bench. Like if you're watching League Pass, that's what's been. They've been literally killing people on defense.
100%.
I like the Embiid move just because Embiid's got the Hakeem connection. Like I feel like the Rocket. Like I don't know. I'm looking at Embiid and I'm like, where would you go next? And it feels like the Rockets and the Pelicans would be my ones because you either give them Sengun and some maybe like a pick or like
But
maybe
if you're Houston's front office, okay, you're Tillman
Yeah.
Fertitta, the owner, and you're looking at how the Sixers are playing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a guard that can go off and cook like a Jalen
Yeah.
Green, but they have it in Tyrese Maxey, and then they centered the team around Tyrese and Embiid. If you're going to give up Alperen Sengun and a couple other pieces for Embiid, you're essentially bringing him to the same situation he was in, just in a new city. That's where I don't think it's the right thing to do, right? We are seeing
see
right
that.
now it play out with Embiid and like an explosive 2 guard and a decent point guard. For me, bring Yanni in and put him in a situation that he's not been in before, because no matter who you give up in Houston, that's different to what Yanni had. Yeah, I keep calling him Yanni as if I'm Greek.
Yeah.
Giannis had
Yeah.
in Milwaukee. That's why I think that's more of a viable. At least that would make more of an impact. Sam, what do you think?
If I bring in Yanni, I'm giving them Sengun and Jalen Green. I'm giving them both. But Yanni's 29, right? He's chilling. Whatever. We're gonna have a great 4 years. This is a guy that's gonna hustle. Now we've got Yanni, we've got Amen Thompson, we've got Reed Shepherd, we've got Tari Eason. We've got probably someone I'm forgetting, Dylan Brooks, who I hate. We've got a lot of guys.
If you made it this far, thank you for watching. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube and all podcasting apps.
And make sure you follow us on all the social media apps. Another one in the books, baby. Yeah.
Let's go.